Welcome to Rate the Audits, where we put misconduct on display, explore police and legal content, protect rights, and demand accountability. This episode is brought to us by Power to the Proletariat. Be sure to check the link below, subscribe to his channel, and give him the credit he deserves to end this episode. Auditor PDTP is calmly filming outside a police station, well within his rights, when an inspector and several officers swarm in, accusing him of harassment for recording a private car from a public spot. Within moments, they're threatening him with arrest despite having no legal grounds. PDTP holds his ground, dismantles their claims, and exposes their unprofessional conduct. A clash that ends with formal complaint and the chief inspector forced to respond.
Pardon?
Are you doing a news piece?
Just having a look at your cars now, really. Just saw his PC was idling up there, and I figured she was going to be coming out in a second. So, yeah, just waiting for... Oh, my days. Hang on, so we got an inspector, a PC?
Yeah.
PC? Inspector. So we got 4 police officers for a man with a camera.
Right.
But sorry, it's quite intimidating, isn't it, having 4 people come out?
There's private vehicles there as well as vehicles that are unmarked.
Sure, but
I'm just wondering what your purpose
but it's quite
is.
intimidating having 4 officers come out and accost somebody with a camera.
You're here on police premises.
Yeah, but like 4 people.
We need to
Really?
establish whether there's a security issue.
Okay.
So, do you want to talk to me about what you're here for? I've got no issue with you filming, but as I've said, there's private vehicles.
Yeah, it's not my intention to get those. If they're in the background of a shot, they're in the background of a shot. But I'm not here to. I'm not
doing a news piece. Do you want an interview? I'll talk to you if you'd like to have an interview.
Not particularly. No, just want to have a look around. That's all. Just like to look around.
I saw you obviously trying to walk around there. So I was just wondering.
You should be careful with the information that you say like that, because I wasn't trying to walk around there at all.
The opening seconds say it all. For officers, led by an inspector, make a straight line march toward the auditor. No observation, no pause to assess, just immediate intervention. The inspector leads with the classic soft opener, claiming she has no problem with filming, then instantly plants a hook. There are private vehicles inside the car park. It's a subtle shift, setting the stage so anything the auditor does next can be painted as a problem. And right on cue, her colleague delivers a punch. A confident claim that she saw the auditor try to come into the private car park. That's not a description. That's an accusation. Close to the line? Yes. Illegal? No. But here's the trick. If you can convince everyone he intended to cross it, you've got yourself grounds to intervene. It's manufacturing suspicion in real time.
I was stood there for a good 4 minutes watching you in your vehicle, and I saw the sign saying no unauthorised access. So don't tell me that I was trying to walk places where I wasn't. Be careful with things like that.
Have you got the footage that you need?
I'm not sure yet, to be honest.
Okay, but I'd like you to leave, because as I've said, there are private vehicles there, but you've got some footage. You've got enough. There's nothing.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the footage that I was getting was actually interrupted by the PC stopping and coming out.
Okay.
But so I'll probably wait around to see if any more vehicles come in or out. See if I can get one on blue lights.
You shouldn't do that, because as I've said, there's private cars coming in and out. Officers don't want you recording them coming and going from duty, because that presents a potential security risk.
They shouldn't drive to work then, really, should they? If they're that concerned.
Business to film the private areas that are off limit to the public.
I have every business to film anything that's visible from a public area.
But my point is, you shouldn't be going up there, which is what you've done.
I haven't gone past the signage where your signage is. It doesn't say the signage. The signage is the signage here saying that I can't go further than this, or is the signage there saying I can't go further than there?
Twice, she leans on the phrase private vehicles like it's a magic rule that overrides public rights. The reality? Those cars are irrelevant. They're in view from a public area, which means they can be filmed. But repeating the phrase gives the impression the auditor is somewhere he shouldn't be, softening the ground for her next move till you've got enough footage. That's not legislation. That's her deciding the job's done when she says so. Then she slides straight into her colleague's false narrative, warning the auditor he shouldn't be going up there. She hasn't seen him cross the boundary, hasn't checked the signage herself. She's just adopting the accusation and delivering it with authority. But the auditor knows the layout better than she does and points out the obvious. The restricted zone starts further ahead. He hasn't crossed it, and the law is on his side.
My personal use, public interest.
Well, my personal vehicle is there, and I'm asking you, from me to you as a private individual, I'm not comfortable with you violating my personal space.
It's not your personal space. It's
Well,
a
my vehicle there, my private vehicle is there, and I'm
Okay.
not comfortable with you filming that.
Well, if you hadn't announced that it was your private vehicle, nobody would ever
But
have known.
I'm telling you it is, so
No, you
therefore
are
I'm
doing
asking
now.
you to stop. Yeah,
Well, I'm not going to.
It's
It's in a public
in which
area.
case you'll have to be removed to prevent a breach of the
For-
peace, because you are
How am I
here.
breaching the peace? Do you know what the threshold is for breach of the peace?
You already have enough footage, so I'm asking you to leave.
Okay.
You're creating these
No.
officers aren't able to get on with their policing
I'm not
duty.
stopping
The
them.
inspector's response here is jaw-dropping. My personal vehicle is there, and I'm asking you for me to you as a private individual. I'm not comfortable with you violating my personal space. Personal space. In this context, it doesn't even make sense. She's standing in uniform, on duty, referring to a private police car park that belongs to the force, not to her, and is clearly visible from a public vantage point. There is no such thing as personal space over an area you don't own and can't legally shield from view. The auditor cut straight through it, reminding her it's not her personal space. She doubles down anyway, saying she's not happy with her vehicle being filmed. But here's the irony. If she hadn't announced it, nobody watching would have known. She created the link herself, turning something anonymous into something personal. That's not a privacy breach by the auditor. That's a tactical blunder by her. Then she tries to back her feelings with force, threatening that if he doesn't stop filming, he'll have to be removed to prevent a breach of the peace. That's not lawful. Breach of the peace is about preventing imminent violence or disorder, not about stopping someone from exercising a lawful right, because an officer's personally uncomfortable.
There are individuals, as I was, getting on with a matter that's of concern to the community, and I've got an individual on police premises filming not only the police cars coming and going, but officers arriving for duty and leaving again. That causes me a concern.
So you're working on conjecture there, because I have specifically said that that is not my intention.
I've said to you, you're causing me a concern, so I'd
Okay.
like you to leave.
So you're concerned. Do you police by your feelings in this country, or do you police by what the law is?
I'd like you to leave.
Do you police by
I'd
what
like you to leave.
do you police by what the law is, or do you
Sir,
police
I'm gonna
by?
get the officers to take you away, because you are not.
Am I in a
But
public place?
There are officers having private conversations about cases in the backyard of the police station.
Well, they
which
shouldn't
is
be.
not-
They shouldn't
but
be
you
having
are-
that conversation in that sort of place.
But you shouldn't be there within the scope of being able
I can
to
be.
film them.
Do you know you can film anything you can see from a public place in the UK?
Okay.
Is this a public place?
This is a public place.
There you go. So if I can film it,
Let me put it a different way. If you stand at the end of my driveway at home, which
Sure.
is a public place, repairable at public expense,
Sure.
and you film into my window, is that acceptable?
is this your home? Do you live here? Do you sleep here?
But these are private premises. Beyond this line here, you are filming from a public into a private space. Is that
Okay.
permitted?
Yes.
Yes. She hears the auditor repeat that he's in a public place, so she tries to trip him with a classic hypothetical. If you stand at the end of my driveway at home, which is a public place, and you film into my window, is that acceptable? It's a weak comparison from the start. Filming into the windows of a private home can raise privacy issues under Section 1 of the Protection from Harassment Act, or even under the Data Protection Act in certain contexts. But this isn't a home. It's a police station, and there's no expectation of domestic privacy here. The auditor calls her bluff immediately. Is this your home? Do you live here? That's the key point. The law treats a private residence very differently from a workplace, especially one operated by a public body. She tries to recover by saying, this is private premises. You are filming from a public into a private. And yes, it is private premises. But private premises that are lawfully visible from a public vantage point can still be filmed. Her driveway analogy is a red herring, designed to emotionally shift the argument from a legal one to a personal one.
Absolutely.
Absolutely not.
Of course it
No.
is.
So you can stand on my road and film me in my home, can you?
If your curtains are open, then legally, yes, I can.
So
If I continue to do it repeatedly, then you could potentially take action about harassment. But at this point, I've been here once only, to come and get some footage that I want to.
Just footage for a couple of minutes and then you can leave.
No,
please.
you don't put a time. You don't put a time limit
I
on
do
my
put a
rights.
time limit on you, and I'm telling you.
Do you know what
now,
Article 10 is of the Human Rights Act?
You are causing me personally harassment and alarm by filming here.
Go talk to the Lord Justice Bean about it. The police have a much
You
higher
have 2 minutes
threshold.
to leave and then you're going to go.
No,
Otherwise
I'm
you'll
not.
Be arrested.
I'm not.
Sure you're-
Arrest me?
Yes,
You're going
be
to arrest me. You'll be hearing from my
Absolutely.
solicitors, and you'll be having a civil suit on your hands.
Okay,
Arrest me for
give
what?
me
What?
solicitors'
What are you going to
details,
arrest me
and
for?
You are causing a nuisance.
What are you
here.
going to arrest me for?
Either public nuisance or harassment.
Public nuisance.
Yeah.
So under the new legislation that came over public. So
And you've got your opportunity to film.
So
I'd like you to not film or certainly delete anything that has details of my personal vehicle or that of any other police officers there, and then I want you to go. All right.
You don't put a time limit on my rights.
From getting on with
No, I'm exercising my rights here, and you don't put a time limit on that, Inspector. Inspector, what? Blackwell? Thank you.
No, are you all right with me? Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah, see, I'm obviously not that much of a concern because you're allowing them to go about their business, yet you're threatening to arrest me. Tyrants here at Stamford.
The inspector's final move before retreating into the station is pure threat with nothing to back it. She tells the auditor, "You've got 2 minutes, then you're going to go." He refuses. Standing firm in his lawful position, that's when she ups the ante with, "Or else you're going to be arrested for being a public nuisance." And that's where the whole facade collapses. Public nuisance isn't some catch-all offense you can throw at someone for filming from a public area. In law, it's a serious and specific offense, historically tied to acts that endanger life, obstruct public rights, or cause widespread harm to community. In fact, since 2022, it's a statutory offense under Section 78 of Police, Crime, Sentencing, and Courts Act, and it still requires substantial harm or risk to the public. A person quietly filming in a lawful spot doesn't even come close to BY threatening that arrest. She's not applying the law. She's trying to scare the auditor into compliance. It's a misuse of authority, plain and simple. Using the specter an offense that clearly doesn't apply just to force someone out of a place they have every right to be. Chief Inspector John Shields' response is just as revealing as the inspector's behavior, and not in a good way. He opens by justifying Inspector Blackwell's actions, saying she was quite within her rights to ask what the auditor was doing. Fair enough. Asking questions is one thing. But what he conveniently sidesteps is the fact that this interaction went far beyond asking. She made false claims about the auditor's movements, injected her own personal space narrative, threatened arrest for public nuisance, and even tried to frame lawful filming as a breach of the peace. None of that falls under quite within her rights. He admits there were times the auditor wasn't on police property, but then suggests filming towards police property may well cause concern. As if causing concern is enough to override the law. That's the same flawed reasoning the inspector leaned on in the video. Concern is subjective. Legally, it's meaningless unless tied to reasonable suspicion of an actual offense. In this case, there was none, and Shield doesn't address that once. He simply repeats the same hollow justification you hear from the front line, only dressed in more formal language. The real letdown comes when he says he doesn't believe the inspector acted unprofessionally. The footage shows otherwise. Professionalism isn't just about avoiding shouting or swearing. It's about applying the law correctly, avoiding baseless threats, and not using your authority to push personal agendas. Blackwell failed on all 3 counts. Claiming personal space over a private police car park, leaning on a home driveway analogy that doesn't apply, and throwing out an arrest threat that had no legal grounding. Shield had the evidence and still rubber-stamped her behavior. This is the problem with internal reviews like this. They protect the badge, not the public. Shield's conclusion that no further action is required ignores the obvious breaches in judgment and conduct caught on camera. If the standard is now that an inspector can threaten baseless arrest, merge personal feelings with official powers, and spin flawed analogies without consequence, then the review process isn't about accountability at all. It's about closing ranks. The footage proves what the response denies. This wasn't measured policing. It was a misuse of authority from start to finish. And by defending it, Shield didn't just let the inspector off. He showed the public exactly how little the complaints process is willing to challenge its own. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me continue with my independent coverage. Also, don't forget to check out PTTP. His channel is linked in the description. Show him some love.